Once there was a man named Abraham. God had whispered a promise into his heart. "Leave your home," God said. "I will show you a new land. I will make your family as big as the stars in the night sky." So Abraham packed up everything he owned. His wife Sarah was with him, and his nephew Lot came too. Lot was like a son to Abraham. They traveled together, a big, happy family, following God's secret map. They didn't know exactly where they were going, but they knew they were going with God. They walked and walked for many days. Their journey was long and dusty. They had tents to sleep in under the twinkling stars. They had sheep and goats and cows, lots and lots of them. These animals were a gift from God. Abraham would build special stone piles called altars to remember God's promises. He would talk to God like a friend. God kept blessing Abraham and Lot. Soon their herds were so big, they looked like fluffy, moving clouds covering the hills. The land they were living on started to feel a little bit small. The animals needed lots of grass to eat and lots of water to drink. But there wasn't enough grass for all of Abraham's sheep and all of Lot's sheep. There wasn't enough water for all of Abraham's cows and all of Lot's cows. The people who worked for Abraham started to argue with the people who worked for Lot. "Our sheep were here first," one would say. "No, this is our spot for water," another would shout. The happy family was starting to have unhappy moments. Abraham saw what was happening. His heart felt sad. He knew that families were more important than fields or wells. Abraham went to Lot and said, "We are family. Let's not have any arguing between us, or between your people and my people." His voice was soft and kind. He knew that their friendship was the most precious thing they had. It was a treasure from God, more valuable than all the sheep and goats in the world. Then Abraham did something amazing. He said to Lot, "The whole land is in front of you. Let's separate. You can choose first." Think about that. Abraham was the older one. He was the leader of the whole family. He could have picked the best part of the land for himself, but he didn't. He put Lot first. He gave the choice away. This was a giant act of faith. Abraham was saying, without even using the words, "God, I trust you. I know you will still be with me and keep your promise." Lot looked up. He looked out at all the land stretched before him like a giant blanket. His eyes scanned everything. To one side, he saw hills that were a little bit brown and dry. They were quiet and empty. But to the other side, he saw something wonderful. It was the Jordan Valley. It looked like a long green ribbon. It was full of water and juicy green grass. Lot's eyes got wide. He saw the cities in the valley, Sodom and Gomorrah. They looked exciting and full of life.
He didn't stop to ask God what he thought. He just looked with his own eyes and saw what looked best to him. He pointed and said, "I will take that part."
So Lot packed up his tents. He gathered all his animals and all his people. He said goodbye to his uncle Abraham. Then he started walking down, down, down into the beautiful green valley, and Abraham watched him go. But Abraham wasn't sad. He wasn't disappointed.
After Lot left, God spoke to Abraham. "Look all around you," God said. "All this land that you see, I will give to you and your family forever. I will make your family so big that no one will be able to count them."
Life in the Green Valley was not as perfect as it looked from far away. The fancy cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, where Lot had moved, were full of trouble. One day a terrible thing happened. 4 powerful kings from far away came with their armies. They marched down into the Jordan Valley and attacked the cities, including Sodom. They captured them and planned to make them their slaves. And in that big group of captured people was Lot, Abraham's nephew, along with his whole family. Someone who escaped the battle ran as fast as they could. "Abraham! Abraham!" the person shouted, all out of breath. "The kings have attacked Sodom. They have taken Lot." When Abraham heard this news, his heart broke. He didn't waste a single moment. He immediately called all the trained men who lived with him. There were 318 of them. Abraham came up with a clever plan. Under the cover of the dark night, Abraham and his men attacked. It was a surprise. They did what seemed impossible. They defeated the 4 powerful kings and their giant army. And most importantly, Abraham found Lot. He found his nephew and his family and brought them all back safely. Abraham hugged him tight. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just said, "You are safe." The story of Abraham and Lot is like a beautiful painting with many colors. It teaches us big things in a simple way. It shows us that God's plan is always the best plan, even when we can't see it. Lot looked with his eyes and chose the land that seemed green and easy. But the easy path was filled with hidden dangers. Abraham let Lot choose first and trusted God with what was left. We also learn about the power of a kind and forgiving heart. When Lot was in terrible trouble, Abraham didn't hesitate to risk his own life to save him. This is a picture of true love, a love that is patient and kind, a love that rescues. And in the end, this story points to an even bigger story. Abraham's love for Lot and his willingness to rescue him is a little peek at God's love for us. God sees us when we are in trouble. He doesn't leave us alone. He comes to rescue us. He sent his own son, Jesus, to be our rescuer. Abraham's story is part of God's one big story that says, "I love you, I will make you a promise, and I will always, always keep my promise." It's a forever promise, written across the stars for everyone to see.